Hola, engineers, and welcome to 3.1.4 Part 2, which I'm calling timers. What if you wanted to run something only for a certain amount of time? And that's very frequent in coding. I only want my motor to run for 10 seconds. Or I only want people to be able to push this for 10 seconds or 10, whatever. If there's some time unit available, how can I do something that is time dependent, conditional on the time? And I can tell you that there are 4 timers built in to our Cortexes. So I'm going to show you how to use a timer today, how to set up a timer, how to clear a timer, and then how to make your program run based on time. Let's get started. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to write a little program here. Okay, kids, here's what's really important to this code, the neatness of it. You can see right now this code is getting much, much more complicated than what you've started with. And I can't stress to you enough the importance of indentations. See how I'm indenting here? And I can't stress to you enough the importance of your, what's the word I'm looking for? Comments. As I was writing this code, you're reading the comments and you're maybe making the connection between what this is actually doing versus what I'm writing over here. So you're learning a little bit of code as you watch me do this. So here's what's happening in this program. I'm going to run up to the smartboard. I am going to be looping everything inside of these 2 braces, and it's really important that you put them on the same level of indentation. I'm going to loop this only for 10 seconds. Outside of 10 seconds, it's going to jump out of that loop. So if at the end of, so this would be a really, you know what? This is a really good code. You guys ever play that claw machine where you like push up and you drive the thing forward, you drive the thing backwards? When you push the forward button, drive that motor forward. When you push the backward button, drive that motor backwards. But you only get 10 seconds to do that, because then after 10 seconds, you're going to stop everything. So you know what? I'm going to stick in one more thing in my code outside of 10 seconds. So at the end of 10 seconds, if nothing else has happened, so now, after the timer has run out and people haven't done anything, stop your motor. Or what you could do, after the timer runs out, then you could run your left motor, because the left motor is the crane. So run the crane down for 5 seconds, run the crane up for 5 seconds, deposit your thing. So this, you're writing code for a video game here. That's, I mean, like an actual, like the claw machine. You, instead of stop motor, then you could, like, if you don't do anything, it goes up and down. Do you know what I mean? So for 10 seconds, we're going to loop everything inside of these 2 parentheses. Now, you saw me introduce to you right now if, then, and else statements. An if statement is a little bit different than a while because it checks it once. It just checks it and goes by. It does not loop back. So a while, if you want to continue checking something, a while loop is your horse. If you want to only check it once, an if statement. So what's going to happen here is this line represents my computer. The computer comes down and it starts thinking, step 1, okay, clear the timer. Step 2, okay, now while this is less than 10 seconds, you saw me type over here that 10,000 actually equals 10. So this is only going to work for 10 seconds. So if you push the bump switch, then start the motor forward, it checks that. So if I'm pushing the bump switch, it's going to run the motor forward. If I'm not pushing the limit switch, it's going to skip that. If I'm not doing that, and then it's going to go back. It's going to go back and check to look at my timer. If my timer is less than 10 seconds, it's going to go down through that again. I'm still pushing my bump switch so that it's going to turn forward. I'm not pushing anything else. It gets to the end of that, and then it's going to loop back. Now I'm going to push my limit switch. It checks that if nope, doesn't do anything, else if. Now I'm pushing the limit switch. It's going to run that motor backwards. And after 10 seconds, it's going to kick out of this loop. So it has been looping between these two, and it's going to kick out of that loop to stop the motor and then end of the program. End the program. If I wanted to keep going, you put a while 1 equals 1 at the top, and then you could continue, and this will just keep running forever. Or you could say while, if you put a quarter in the slot, you know what I mean? If you wanted to make this into an actual machine, the quarter is going to hit some switch, and then if you push that button, then play the game for 10 seconds. So you could have a while 1 equals 1, so it's always looking for a quarter, and then if you push the switch, bam, and now you kick into this code right here. So now you can see how this code is expandable and easily thrown into something else. So let's download this and see what we do. Do you remember how to quickly download this? F5. I'm going to push F5. We're going to cross our fingers to see if we don't have any errors. Oh, look at that. Error-free. It's amazing. So let's start our program. So I'm going to put this kind of on display so you guys can see it here. You all. 10 seconds has maybe run out already. And I can monitor my timer. If I go down here and I click on timers, you can actually see timer number 1. It's past 10 seconds, so nothing's going to happen. If I push my button and I push my limit switch, nothing happens. I'm going to restart my program, but I want you to keep your eyes on timer number 1, 36. Start. Oh, look it. It's running. Now I can run it backwards, forwards. But then after 10 seconds, 8, 9, 10. After 10 seconds, it has stopped. So you see that timer 1 has gone past 10 seconds, and I got my other timers here. They're all kind of synchronized. Isn't that neat? Now, if you can't see your timers, you'll have to go over to Robot, Debugger Windows, and just make sure that the timers is selected so you can actually monitor your timers. If I only wanted to run this for 5 seconds, then I would just change this to 5,000. Now you have to make sure that you re-upload it, so you can't just change this now and expect my computer to do something for 5 seconds. You got to close it, F5, send it to the computer again. So you have to send that code every time you make a modification, and now it's only going to run for 5 seconds. So I was 1, 1,002, 3, 4, 5. Ooh. Why is it still running? I don't know. We'll look at that later. Oh, maybe I have to start it. Oh, 50,000? That's 50 seconds. Oh, yeah, I'm silly. 5 seconds is only 5,000. So that makes sense. Maybe you're sitting there and you saw that error the whole time. But kids, believe me, you're going to make silly errors. And you're not going to be able to see it. And I always want you to try, look into the problem. See if you can figure it out. 2001, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, much better. Okay, that only ran for 5 seconds. Well done. Timers. Be careful not to clear a timer in a loop. Like, you could be looping and clearing your timer, and then it never stops. So I could be, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I could come over here. At the end of this, I could just clear timer, and then it's parentheses T1. Now when I run this program, F5. Start her up, and keep your eye on timer 1. See how it never goes above 0? You've hacked the system, and now you can play your game forever. It's easy to play forever. So be careful that you're not clearing a timer midway through. The last little bit I want to emphasize is this syntax. Remember, in a while loop, you don't put a semicolon at the end of it. Parenthesis, time 1. So to clear a timer, you do put a parenthesis because that's an executable. But while, if you want to check a timer, whoo boy, this is the code, the syntax to check if a time is less than a certain amount. Again, when you saw my if statements, I didn't put semicolons behind my if. I do put them behind an executable. So, all right, kids, be neat. I can't stress this enough. Tab things in so that you can tell where things start, where things end. It is very importante.